am your host, Herald, and I welcome you to this new horror show. Now, sit back, relax, and let's us dig into tonight's terror episode.
Chapter 2. After both detectives seen the gruesome death of two teen girls, they learned later that there were no sign of forced entry or break-ins into the house. Both homicide detectives were left dumbstruck. Detective Malone had this to say: "Besides learning that there was no forced entry into the house, I made it my sole mission to try and find the monster that's responsible. So we moved upstairs into the next bedroom. That's when I learned this evil that had entered that house had no remorse or respect for life as we know it. At first glance, these two John and Jane Does appears to look sleeping peacefully with the blanket over them. But when the crime scene investigators pulled back the blanket, they found both chest cavity of each victim had been viciously torn open, their ribs splayed apart like wings. Just a hollow cavity where both of their heart and lungs once was. Their faces were untouched, nor were their head removed. However, their eyes wide open, frozen in pure terror, as if they had awakened moments before they died. A bizarre trail of dark soot, which looked somewhat like unknown footprint, led from the bedside of the victims, up to the walls, then up the ceiling, and vanished. Forensic found an etched claw markings that appeared on their headboard. Detective Shaw had this to say: "This was a bizarre crime scene I have ever witnessed in all of my entire career. Who could have possibly drained the blood out of not one, but two bodies in one single night, and not have a single trail of it on the bed or pillow? We are talking about the upper body here. I am not one for thrills, but this sounds like a work of a vampire, or worst, as crazy it sounds." This investigation keeps getting weirder. Now, upon the last room of the investigation, Detective Malone and crime scene investigators finds two siblings dead in their bunkers in a way that can't be imagined. Detective Malone explains: "The Jane Doe body that we found on the top bunk. Jesus! Her body was twisted unnaturally. Her jaw had been dislocated and stretched open far beyond what it should. Her tongue had been removed and replaced with strings of barbed wires coiled and tied into a bow. Her pillow was drenched in blood, and under it was a note in blood, and it read, 'She wouldn't shut up.' Every doll she owned had been decapitated. Their heads were neatly placed in a row by her head, staring upwards with their eyes gouged out with painting of tears on the sides of them. This was one of the most sinister homicide scenes I have lived to experience. Just sinister." Detective Shaw explains: "John Doe at the bottom, his body was positioned towards the wall completely naked, with his eyes gouged out along with the flesh on his face skinned off. The center of his throat viciously torn open, along with his genital creating rivers of blood. The smell of rotten flesh of both corpses started to cut into the mask of anyone present in the room. Also, the same MO at this scene, an etched claw marking trail of dark soot prints going up on the wall ceiling, then vanished. Detective Malone and Shaw told our crew that they didn't know if these homicides in the Williamson residence were in fact done by a human, but could have been done by something supernatural. 6 murders left unexplained in the most bizarre fashion ever. This crime has made headlines in the papers, including the National Broadcast News Network. 3 weeks after the national broadcasting had aired, a woman has came forward on what she knew days before the tragedy that had befallen these 6 young teens at the Williamson residence.